Hi friends, it's Em, and we are back with another video. In April was a weird reading month, full of questionable decisions in terms of the arcs that I requested, apparently, because there were so many that I just did not enjoy. But we're not talking about those. We are going to be talking about the 5 books that I read in April that were my favorite out of the 27 that I read. In the spread, I write 28. I was mistaken. And in April, I read 19 arcs, then was approved for 23, leading to me still having my number increase. But we're in a 92% feedback ratio, right? We're doing okay. Solid mix between romance and fantasy going on. And yeah, I don't know how many pages I read in April, and I could look that up. Usually I write that sort of on the spread, but I really want to get into my favorite reads of the month. So let's chat. First up is The Inadequate Heir by Danielle L. Jensen. My God. Okay, so essentially, this is the 3rd book in the Bridge Kingdom series. And I did not know going into it that it was going to be partially retelling the first duology from the perspective of the future king of one kingdom and a sort of royal member of their enemy kingdom. So, given how much of this book wasn't going to be a surprise, I was still astounded by all of this sort of behind the scenes action that we got. And there's steam, you still have that political intrigue, and this book, it's going. Like, I know my big complaint about the first book in the Bridge Kingdom is that, it has to set up everything for this sort of trio of duologies. Oh my God. I'm currently reading The Endless War, which is the 4th one, and my hold of The Twisted Throne just came in, which is the 5th one. Oh my God. I can't. I love it so much. If you're a romantic-y girly, this is for you. Then I read Alchemy and a Cup of Tea, which is the 4th and I'm going to use air quotes here, final book in the cozy fantasy series by Rebecca Thorne. Really, we just sort of get to close out the world of Tawny, and we do get to see a little bit of alchemy, which is fun. I have loved this book series for the last 2 years, maybe year and a half, and I'm sad that it's ending. Now, of course, there's like some secret scenes that made me think maybe it's not ending. I'm not sure, but it could also turn into a spin-off series, and I would be here for it. Really, it's just a cozy fantasy. If you like it, you'll like it. Then, last fantasy book. I read 5 Broken Blades, finally, by Mai Corland, and oh my God. I don't know how I slept on this series for so long. Like, I think I knew that I wanted it, and I didn't know it was on KU. I didn't know I could get that hold anytime I wanted. This is like an Ocean's 11 style heist meets assassination plot, but it's all sort of set against this, like, imperial culture. So there's there's concubines and there's assassins and there's guards, but there's so much magic in it too. I loved it. I loved it so much. It really hits its stride around 50% of the way through. So it's good up until that point, but at 50%, it's like, oh man, I cannot put this book down. Like, we are going. I think either this month or potentially next month, I'm going to read the second one, which is Four Ruined Realms, and then the third one comes out later this year, and then I'll read that one. Very, very excited. Then getting into the romance sphere, I read Any Trope But You, which is a debut, and this immediately turns all of the tropes on their heads because we have a romance writer who does not believe in love. She writes these sort of like happily never afters for the characters in her books after the fact, right? So like one of the guys, you know, he gets fat and they get a divorce or something. And so the problem is that this gets leaked. She gets hacked and it gets released to all of her readers. And so she goes on a retreat to Alaska to write a mystery book. She's like, never mind, you know, I'm done with romance. And of course, all of these canonical romance tropes keep happening to her. So we have like this super hot, tour guide, you know, and then it's so good. I listened to it on audio and I loved the narration. There are just sort of some chapters with the guy, but it's mostly just the female narration. And I loved it. The third act of this book is like I was just wrapped, just sort of like mentally screaming. And then of course my final favorite was What Happens in Amsterdam by Rachel Lynn Solomon. I am a Rachel Lynn Solomon stan. This book needs to be read on audio so that you can really hear sort of the Dutch European accents, because so much of the comedy in this book, it might not read the right way if you don't have sort of that dry expectation. But this is about a foreign exchange student, right? They fell in love and then they broke up, and years later they're coming back together, and it is just delightful. It's about finding yourself and depression and anxiety, and I loved it so much. That comes out in early May, and you should absolutely pick it up. So I've been talking a long time, but I hope that you enjoyed this video. Let me know what your favorite thing that you read in April was, and happy planning.